everyone, I'm Alison. I'm here on behalf of Epic Fitness and our corporate wellness team, and I'm excited and grateful to lead you through a yoga practice today. We will be doing restorative poses today. That's something that I like to do once a month or every 4 weeks. Restorative poses are ones that help to restore the organic body, helping all of our internal organs to get situated into the right places, using supported tools, props, and the poses themselves, holding the poses a little bit longer and having the support so that you can really find some relaxation and some restorative properties for all of those organs. So that's what we'll be doing today, and if you do have props available, please go ahead and have those as usual. Blankets, bricks, strap, and then if you do have a chair, you'll want a chair for practice today, and any chair will do, preferably one that doesn't have arms like the one that I have here. A folding chair will do, or even a table, a coffee table or a small table that's going to be about the height of a chair will be beneficial for some of the supported poses that we'll be doing today. So great, we'll go ahead and get started. Seated in Sukhasana with our legs crossed at the shins, sitting up nice and tall. See to it the knees and toes are pointing straight forward. Lift up through the sides of the waist, broaden your chest, and then go ahead and bring your hands together at the center of your chest. Press the hands gently together as you broaden your collarbones, pressing the hands together from the elbows so that you get a little more resistance, a little more engagement through the outer shoulder blades. The outer shoulder blades drawing in, the chest lifting into the hands, finding an extension up through the sides of the waist and lifting the abdomen. Descend the top of your buttocks down. See to it that there's no pressure or any tightness in the low back. By descending the top of the buttocks, extending the sitting bones down into your blankets or into the floor. And then close your eyes from top to bottom. Soften the skin of your face. Go inward with your breath. Slow and steady inhalations and exhalations through your nose. And then at the top of the next inhale, we'll chant together 3 counts of Om. Bow your head to your hands. Bring your hands to your thighs, palms up. Inhale and lift the head. Slowly open your eyes. And then we'll stay in Sukhasana, but we'll go ahead and we'll switch the crossing of our legs. So whichever leg you have in front, you want to go ahead and extend both of your legs and then bring the leg that was in front in first, so that now you are still in Sukhasana, but with the opposite crossing of the legs. And then once more, have your hands with the palms facing up on your thighs. Lift up through the sides of the waist. Again, observe that the knees and toes are pointing straight forward. See to it that the legs are crossed at the center of the shins. And lift the torso up. Descend the top of the buttocks down. Broaden your collarbones. Observe if there's any discomfort or tightness in your hips, especially with this second crossing of the legs. And if you observe that there is any discomfort, see what you can do to again move the top of the buttocks down, move the inner groin thighs down towards your blankets or the floor, so right in through here. And if you even kind of take your hands into those hip creases, taking your thumb and first finger here into the hip crease, and gently press down. So you're directing the inner groin thighs down towards the blankets, down towards the floor, so that you can get more depth right through here in these hip creases. Getting more depth through the hip creases allows the knees to soften a little more towards the floor. And then when you do that and move the top of the buttocks down, the tailbone comes in, and you may observe that there is more of a lift that comes through the spine. You may be able to get more of a lift through the torso and extension up through the sides of the waist, finding that extension up through the spine, lengthening up through the back of the neck and up through the crown of your head. And then we'll go ahead, we're going to move into some supine postures we're going to go to Adho Mukha Virasana, downward facing hero's pose. So you can go ahead and uncross your legs from Sukhasana. And this is one where you will want one of your blankets, if you have them, to go underneath your knees, just for a little bit of comfort, especially if you're on a hard floor. So I'll have this blanket to go under my knees. And again, like we talked about last week, if you need extra support under your ankles here, you can roll up the top layer of your blanket or even the end of your mat if you don't have a blanket, to give you some extra support under your ankles if you need that modification. And you can always go back and look at the videos from the previous weeks to see any of these modifications that we've done before. And then you'll sit back onto your heels with the toes extended straight back behind. And then I've separated my knees just enough so that I can fit my torso in between. I'm going to keep my buttocks on my heels and then extend my torso forward, walking my hands forward, keeping my buttocks on my heels with my hands extended forward, and then bringing your forehead to the floor. If you find that the buttocks comes up when you extend forward, you can use another blanket underneath your buttocks so that you find more extension here. Or you can also put a blanket under your forehead. So if you find that your forehead doesn't come to the floor, you can use one or two blankets folded in this long ways direction to bring your forehead to the floor. And with these restorative poses, it's nice to go ahead and use the props if you have them, so that you do get that extra layer of support, that extra degree of comfort, to really allow your body to relax into the position. So extend the toes straight back behind. The shin bones reach down into the floor. And again, you want to move the top of the buttocks towards your heels. The arms are extended. The hands press down into the floor. The shoulders lift away from your ears. And even here in Adho Mukha Virasana, downward facing hero's pose, you want to draw the outer shoulder blades in. Drawing the outer shoulder blades in. Keep the elbows and the armpits lifted away from the floor. Allow the forehead to rest. Allow the back of the neck to extend. And then again, just like in Sukhasana, see if you can deepen your hip creases. See if you can deepen your inner groin thighs back towards the wall behind you, creating more extension through the low part of the back, through the lumbar spine. And again, just allowing the forehead to relax, but still maintaining the actions of the pose. Still keeping the arms extended, keeping the elbows lifted, the outer shoulder blades drawing in. Top of the buttocks towards your heels. And these restorative poses also give us a little more time to observe our breath. So observe your breath as you go through class today. Observe any changes in your breathing, any discomfort with your breath, or any tension that you might find in your breath. And doing your best to find some relaxation. And then to come out of this pose, to come out of downward facing hero's pose, Adho Mukha Virasana, you want to walk your hands right next to your ribs, to your shoulder, right under your, put your hands right down under your shoulders, and then press yourself up, coming back up to your knees. And then just take a few breaths here. Because if you had your head down, you want to make sure that you don't feel lightheaded, so just take a few breaths after you've brought yourself to an upright position. And then now we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the wall. So if you aren't set up near a wall, you can go ahead and pause the video and move your mat, a doorway, a wall. yeah, that's all you need. So hopefully you're not practicing outside, and if you are, go find a tree, okay? Because that will work just as well. So I'm going to move these other blankets off to the side. And then this mat this blanket that I have down on my mat, I'm going to unfold it to its longest shape here. And then I'm going to see to it that the end of my mat and this blanket are all the way up to this wall over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get so that my feet are very close to the wall. And then to lay down onto my back, I'm going to turn to my side, slide down onto my back, or onto my side, and then roll to my back so I protect my low back as I come down onto the ground. And then I'm going to scoop myself a little bit so that I move a little back towards the top of my mat. And then I'm going to hold on to the sides of my mat and my blanket if I'm using the blanket. And the blanket here again is just for a little extra comfort, and it also helps you slide a little better because we're going to do a little bit of sliding here. So I'm going to bring my feet to the wall with my legs still slightly bent. And then here I'm going to pause. I'm going to observe that my heels are pressing into the wall and that my heels are staying on the ground. I'm going to grip my mat, draw my outer shoulder blades in, extend through the back of my neck so I'm on the center of the top of the center of the back of my head. And then I'm going to press my heels into the wall, driving my heels into the wall as I extend my legs. And so I'll slide towards my head. The top of my buttocks is scraping towards my heels. And then when I get to a point where my legs are almost fully extended, I want to move my thigh bones to the floor, pressing my heels into the wall and my thigh bones to the floor. And then once the legs are fully extended, I'm going to continue with those actions here in Supta Tadasana. Pressing the heels into the wall, moving the top of the buttocks to the heels, extending through the back of the legs, and then moving the thigh bones to the floor. Once again, I want to draw the outer shoulder blades in, keep the top of the shoulders down away from your ears, and then you don't have to continue to grip the mat here. You can let go and turn the palms of your hands to face up in Supta Tadasana, supine mountain pose with the assist of the wall. And then we'll do that a couple more times, the scraping and the extending here, because what you'll notice as you do this, as you extend the legs and do that first bit of it, the top of the buttocks really starts to move towards your heels. If you find that when you've extended your legs, if the thigh bones don't come to the floor and you just straighten the legs, you may notice that your back comes up away from the floor. So I'm exaggerating here so that you can see, but this is what we're trying to avoid. There's no engagement here through the abdomen. This would really start to wear and cause pain through the low back if you were to maintain this position when you're laying on the floor. So once more, I'm not going to do that very long because it hurts, all right? So I'm going to bend my legs a little bit again, and then I'm going to do a few more times. And however many times you need to do this scraping piece, okay? So that you can really start to feel the top of the buttocks going towards the heels. And you want to be careful too that it's not a tuck under, because when I tuck under, you see I'm tucking under. When I tuck under, I actually grip my butt cheeks together, which again creates tightness all through the back and through the hips. And it also creates tightness in these front groins because now my thigh bones and my inner thighs are popping forward. And I want the opposite of that. So be sure that when you move the top of the buttocks towards your heels, that you keep the top of the buttocks going towards your heels, but they also maintain this depth of these hip flexors. You also maintain these inner groin thighs reaching towards the wall and towards the back side of your body, okay? So really being mindful that you're not tucking your pelvis under, okay? So once more, pressing the heels to the wall, extend your legs, top of the buttocks towards your heels, thigh bones towards the floor. Inner thighs press towards the floor, thigh bones move towards the floor, top of the buttocks towards your heels. Draw the outer shoulder blades in. Maintain the extension through the spine and through the back of your neck. And then allow the palms of the hands to turn to face up once you've done that sliding back towards your head. The legs are together, the feet are together. The heels press into the wall and the heels stay on the ground. Extend the top of the buttocks towards your heels. And as you do this, as you move the top of the buttocks towards your heels and move the thigh bones towards the floor, you may also notice that there's a hollowing in the abdomen. And then to come out of this pose, you can go ahead and bend your legs. And then just how we came into the pose, you'll bend your legs, roll to your side, and then use your hands to push yourself upright. The next pose we're going to do is legs up the wall. So again, we're going to use the wall. And then the most difficult thing about legs up the wall is getting into the pose. Once you're there, it's great, right? That can be a little tricky. So what I like to do to come into this pose so that I can really get my legs, the back of my legs, flush to the wall as much as possible, I'm going to sit towards the front of my mat and I'm going to sit right up against the wall. So I'm sitting up against the wall and I'm almost starting to take my buttocks up the wall already. So I'm using, so that the buttocks that's close to the wall, I'm really getting that buttocks up onto the wall so that as I lay down, I'm already there. So I lay down and then all I've got to do is swing my legs up the wall and look, there I am. And then you'll need to just do a little bit of straightening out so that you are perpendicular to the wall here and that you're centered in your mat. And then you want to be here with your hands out to the sides, or you can rest your hands on your abdomen here. Oops. Rest your hands on your abdomen here. And the back of your legs are at the wall. The back of your heels are on the wall. If you find that stop doing that. If you find that as you come to the wall with the back of your legs at the wall here, if you find that you have trouble extending the legs, they can't straighten, they're bent because you have some tightness either in your hips or the hamstrings or your low back, if you find that you can't extend your legs fully, or if you find that when you extend your legs, your hips are lifted up, your buttocks isn't flat to the floor because again, different types of tightness that you could have through the hips here, you want to move yourself a little bit away from the wall. So your distance to the wall, the distance of your buttocks to the wall, is going to depend on how much mobility you have here through your legs, through your back, and through your hips. So you want the back of your buttocks on the ground, you want the legs extended, and the center of the back of the heels on the wall. And then again, if you are able to get your legs completely flush to the wall, then you can go ahead and you can do that. And then once you're here, legs up the wall, the center of the back of the heels press into the wall. The toes point back towards the center of the room. Spread your toes nice and wide apart. The heels press to the wall, and then again, the back of your thighs move towards the wall. And then just like we did at the beginning in seated in Sukhasana, you can take your hands and put your hands right here on your thighs. You can either get your thumb and first finger right into the creases of your hips here, or you can just take your whole hand and get the heels of your hands into your hip crease here, and then press your thighs to the wall. Really trying to deepen the inner thighs to the wall. And then as you do that, when you press your thigh bones to the wall, you may notice that there is a release, or there is more of an extension or more stretching that you feel through your back and through your hips, and that's a good thing, right? So then you don't have to keep your hands here. You use your hands to really find how much more you can get those thigh bones to move towards the wall, but then you let go, and then you use the actions of the legs themselves. You use the legs, the muscular actions of the legs, to continue to do that. Inner groin thighs move towards the wall. Again, that corresponds with this hollowing of the abdomen as the back side of the body moves closer to the floor. Extending through the back of the legs, top of the buttocks towards your heels. Again, checking in, the outer shoulder blades are drawing in, the top of the shoulders away from your ears. Legs up the wall. And sometimes this pose is referred to as Viparita Karani, lake draining pose. Allow the abdomen to soften. Observe the back side of the body to the floor, continuing to do the work with the legs. Press the heels to the wall, thigh bones towards the wall, extend the top of the buttocks towards your heels. Spreading through the balls of your feet, spreading your toes apart. And then keeping the torso where it is, we're going to bring our legs into Sukhasana here. So you're just going to cross one leg over the other and then bend your legs. So we're in that same position as when we, the same position of the legs as when we start class in Sukhasana. So with the wall here, you may notice it shows you what kind of tightness you have, right? That, maybe your knees are actually really far away from the wall because there's some tightness through here. So you want to do your best to see to it that the feet are right behind the knees. The knees and the toes are pointing straight up towards the ceiling in this position. So I've really got the outer edge of my feet, that pinky toe side of my foot is cutting into the wall so that I can still keep my toes up to the ceiling, spread through the bottoms of my feet, spreading my toes apart. And then, again, even here, I want to move the inner groin thighs towards the wall. If you like to use your hands to do that again, if you want to press your hands to your thighs to give you a little more depth here, you can do that for a moment and then release the hands back to the sides. Or again, resting your hands on your abdomen to help you observe this hollowing, softening of the abdomen as you cut your thighs towards the wall, as you still extend the top of the buttocks towards the heels. The chest is broad, the collarbones are broad, the outer shoulder blades draw in. And just observe what discomforts you might have here. Observe any discomforts, any tension, and use your breath to soften into those areas. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to switch the crossing of our legs. So whichever leg is on top, you're going to just observe, uncross your legs, extend them, and then switch the crossing, bend your legs. And then once more, situate your legs so that the feet are behind the knees. The toes, the knees are all pointing up towards the ceiling, the hands resting here on the abdomen or out to the sides. Deepen the inner groin thighs towards the wall. Move those thigh bones towards the wall and extend the top of the buttocks towards your heels. Spread through the balls of your feet, spread your toes apart, catch the outer edge of your foot to the wall. Draw the outer shoulder blades in. And just observe your breath. Observe the back side of the body to the floor. Observe any tension, any tightness that you have. And then with an inhale, we'll go ahead and extend your legs back up. Uncross your legs. And then go ahead, bend your knees in. And then once more, rolling to your side to push yourself back upright to a seated position. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some seated poses, some seated forward bends. So if you want to turn your mat long ways, you can. I'm not going to turn my mat. I don't mind having the back of my heels on the hard floor, but if that's a problem for you, that discomfort under your heel, you can switch your mat and extend it long ways. And then once more for your seated poses, if you have blankets or even a brick available to sit on, you can go ahead and have a blanket or two there. Okay. And then for these seated forward bends that we're going to do, we are going to use support. So this is where you'll want your chair or your table or whatever it is that you're going to use that's going to be that height for your support. So I'm just starting here in Dandasana. I'm sitting up nice and tall with my legs extended. I'll use my hands to lift up through my torso. And especially since the legs were bent when they were at the wall for a few moments there, I want to make sure that I find that nice extension through my legs, tightening the thighs right above the knees, pressing the heels down into the floor, and then again extending from the top of the buttocks through the back of my legs to my heels. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take whatever support I'm going to use, and this is going to be support for our head, for your forward bend. So I'm going to put it in front of me. Sorry, I'm still here, guys. Okay, and then whatever chair you're using, you just kind of go with it. It's going to be a little different because we all have different chairs, different props that we're making do. But you want your legs, they're going to be about as wide, or about as wide as just wider than the narrow end of your mat. But you have to work with your chair, right? If your chair has wider legs or narrower legs, you may adjust your legs as well. So we're in a wide-legged Dandasana here, wide-legged seated staff pose. And I'm extending through the back of my legs. And then I'm going to keep this extension of the top of the buttocks towards my heels. I'm going to keep my knees and toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling. And I'm gonna lift up through the sides of the waist. And then go ahead, bring your arms up. Urdhva Hastasana to help you get this extension of the torso. So as you reach your fingertips up, use your arms to lift the torso, top of the shoulders down away from your ears. Still the legs are active. And then with an exhale, go ahead, extend forward, and you can put your forehead right to the seat of the chair. You can cross your arms, you can put your forehead on your arms. If you find you need more height than this, you can go ahead and take one of your blankets, or two of your blankets, or however many you have that you need, and you can rest your forehead on your blankets. So when we're doing this position, I'm going to turn to the side actually so you can see. So when we're doing this position here, you want to make sure that you still get the extension of the spine, the broadening of the chest. So as I reach my arms up and extend forward, I'm leading with my chest, and then just my head comes down. So you still want to see to it that you have this nice extension of your torso. So extend through the sides of the waist, keep your forehead on the seat of the chair. Extend through the back of your legs. Press the center of the back of your heels down into the floor. Extend from the top of the buttocks down towards your heels. And then still think about leading with the chest as you allow your forehead to rest on your chair or the prop that you've chosen to use for this pose. See to it that you are still drawing your outer shoulder blades in, that you're extending through the sides of the waist. The top of the shoulders are moving away from your ears. And then still finding that you can deepen your inner groin thighs towards the floor. Allow your head to rest. Still observing that you're maintaining the actions of your legs and of your feet. Center heels pressed down, toes spread nice and wide apart. Inner thighs towards the floor. Observe that you're not allowing your legs to turn out, that the knees and the toes continue to point straight up towards the ceiling. And then switch the crossing of your arms. You don't have to bring your head up necessarily, unless your forehead is on your arms and you want to obviously lift your head a little bit. But switch the crossing of your arms. Still extend the sides of the waist forward. Move the top of the shoulders down away from your ears. Observe that you're not collapsing into your forward bend. Observe that you're not allowing the abdomen or the ribs to sag towards the floor, but that you're still maintaining that extension through the spine. Inhale to lift the head up, coming back up to a seated position. And then we're going to continue with a few more forward bends here. So you can leave your chair, your blankets, whatever props you have here that are helping you with this forward bend for the assist there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to come back into Sukhasana. I'm doing a lot of Sukhasana today, guys. You should feel your hips tomorrow. Or later today, or maybe right now. Okay. So again, Sukhasana, easy seated pose, finding that crossing of the legs. Feet under the knees, knees and toes pointing straight forward. And then once more, lifting up through the sides of the waist, lifting the torso, reach the arms up. And then with an exhale, extend forward. You may have to adjust your chair. You might need to bring it a little closer, a little further away. But again, finding the distance of the chair so that your spine is extended. So you may find that you can extend a little more forward, right? And you may find that that's gonna work better. You may find that you need to have your chair really close to you and you need a lot of blankets up here to get that extension of the spine. So using the amount of props and the distance of the chair so that you get that extension of the torso. The top of the buttocks is going down. You want to see to it that your tailbone doesn't start to stick out as you come into these forward bends. Top of the buttocks down, inner groin thighs deepening towards the floor. Observing the breath through all these postures. Always allowing your forehead to rest and relax in these supported positions. Allowing your mind to relax. Simply focusing on your breath and the actions of the poses. See to it the knees and toes are still pointing straight forward. There's a gentle press from one shin bone to the other, pressing the shin bones gently into each other. Top of the buttocks down, sides of the waist extended forward. With an inhale, go ahead and lift your head and your torso up. Observe which way your arms are crossed, okay, because you're gonna switch when we do the second side, okay? So observing the way the arms are crossed. And then once more, you're gonna switch the crossing of your legs. So extending the legs out, bringing the legs into the opposite crossing. Once more, finding yourself in Sukhasana here, reaching the arms up, lift the torso, and then extend forward, bringing the other hand down first. Extend through the sides of the waist, draw the outer shoulder blades in. See to it the knees and toes are pointing straight forward. Deepen the inner groin thighs, deepening your inner groins towards the floor. Move the top of the buttocks down. Sides of the waist lengthen and extend forward. The forehead relaxes. Soften your throat and through the back of your neck. Keeping a lift in the abdomen, not allowing the rib cage to sink forward. Observe your breath. And then with an inhale, lift the head and the chest, coming back up to a seated position. And then just one more of our forward bends here. So you're going to keep your chair and your blankets for your forehead, and we're going to take our legs wide into Upavista Konasana. And so now for some of us, when we take our legs wide, you may find you don't need as much support under your hips, so you can remove that if you'd like. Or you can always use just a corner of the blanket to tuck under in between the buttocks to help give you some support and encourage you to draw your tailbone in. Okay? So those are options for you here. And then finding this upright position in Upavista Konasana. I'm sorry guys, I can see you through the chair. Hopefully you can see me. I'll move the chair just for a moment and then I'll put it back. So sitting in Upavista Konasana, press the center heel bones down. Move the inner groin thighs towards the floor as you lift up through the sides of the waist. And then again, observe that the top of the buttocks moves down. And then just like we talked about in previous weeks when we've done this pose, you want to observe that you're bringing the back inner edge of the knees towards the floor and that you're bringing these inner groin thighs towards the floor. A lot of times we have a tendency to just let the legs turn out, not maintain a whole lot of control when we take the legs wide. So instead, I want you to find that control. The knees and toes will point straight up towards the ceiling. The center heel bones press down into the floor. I'm still spreading through the balls of my feet, spreading my toes apart, inner thighs down, top of the buttocks down. Lift up through the sides of the waist. And then since we're going to do the forward bend piece next, I'm going to go ahead and I'll slide my chair right straight in front of me. And then again, using the arms to lift up, reaching the arms up to lift the torso, lift up through the sides of the waist. Maintain that as you extend forward. Maintain the top of the buttocks going down. Don't let your hips rock forward or pop back behind you as you extend forward. Move the inner groin thighs towards the floor. Move the back of your thigh bones towards the floor, the top of the buttocks down. Allow the forehead to rest. Extend through the back of your legs. Press the heels down to the floor. Draw the outer shoulder blades in. Keep the top of the shoulders moving away from the floor. Observe the breath. Slow, steady inhalations and exhalations through your nose. Keeping the legs active. Not allowing the legs to turn out, but finding some control through the outer hips. As you press the heels down, the inner groin thighs down, top of the buttocks down, sides of the waist extend forward. Switch the crossing of the arms. Keep the forehead down or bring it back down to rest on your blankets, your chair. Inner thighs towards the floor, heels press down, extend through the back of your legs. Keeping the feet active, continue to spread your toes apart, reaching through the balls of your feet. Abdomen stays lifted and engaged. And then with an inhale, go ahead and coming back up, and then we'll go ahead and move the chair to the side. And then you can go ahead and bring your legs straight back in front of you into Dandasana for just a moment. Sitting up nice and tall, lifting up through the sides of the waist. And then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna move into some supine postures. So, once more, we're gonna go ahead and, well, let's see, I'm gonna fold up this bottom blanket. And if you are using blankets today, I will show you how to fold them for our supine postures. If you don't have blankets, that's fine. You're just gonna lay flat on your back on the floor to do these postures. So for my supine postures, I'm gonna wanna see to it that, I'm gonna be this way. So this is gonna be the top. I'm gonna have my head this way. So I'm gonna put this one blanket here. And then just depending on how many blankets you can have multiple blankets folded. Okay. I'm going to use 2 for this base support. And then I'm going to use an extra blanket. My third blanket is going to go to support the back of my head here. And you'll see how that works once I come into the pose. But again, if you don't have blankets, no big deal. You're still going to be able to do these poses. You're just going to recline straight to the floor. Okay? So when using the blankets, I'm going to sit so that I come right in front of the blankets so that they're right here ready to support my back, ready to support my torso, okay? So I have the top of my buttocks down. We're doing Supta Sukhasana, supine, easy seated pose. So I'm going to start with the first crossing of my legs, whichever way you naturally cross first is fine. And then sitting up nice and tall, and then you're just going to use your hands to support you as you recline into this posture. Use my hands, I'm going to walk back, and then as I start to recline, I might notice that the buttocks is creeping up into my low back. So I want to kind of scrape my buttocks towards my heels, scoot my buttocks towards my heels, but again, without tucking my pelvis and lifting those inner groin thighs up. So moving the top of the buttocks down, getting that buttocks out of the low back so that I can recline. I'm going to support myself on my elbows here. And again, even if you're coming right down to the floor without any support, you want to see to it that you pause here on your elbows for a moment, and then again, move the top of the buttocks towards your heels. Regardless how much buttocks flesh you have, some of us have a lot, some of us have a little. It doesn't matter how much you have, you want to make sure that any of that flesh, that soft tissue, is moving away from your low back so it doesn't create any tension, tightness that eventually will lead you to have back pain, and we don't want that. So then I can fully recline. And then I'm going to adjust because I see that this blanket maybe is a little too close to my shoulders. I'm going to move it slightly so that now this blanket is supporting the top of my shoulders and the back of my head. And you want to observe that the chin is always either in line or slightly lower than the forehead. If you find when you lay on the ground that your head comes to this position here, you need a little more support under the back of your head so you can get that extension. Okay. And if you don't have blankets and you do need some of that support for your head, a sturdy towel, a beach towel, a nice thick sturdy towel could work nicely as that support. Okay. So now here I am, Supta Sukhasana, and then in the pose, once more, I want to move the top of the buttocks towards my heels and make sure that I've got that going on. And then I still am keeping my feet and my legs active here. They're still engaged.
I'm moving my inner groin thighs towards the floor, still spreading the toes apart, reaching through the balls of my feet, observing that the knees and toes are pointing straight forward. And then my hands are out to the side with the palms up, or again, if you have a little more comfort with your hands on your abdomen, you can do that as long as you can maintain this openness across your chest. Outer shoulder blades draw in, top of the shoulders away from your ears. Supta Sukhasana, supine easy seated pose. And then to come out of this pose, you want to go ahead, press your hands down to the floor. You can grip onto the sides of your mat. And then you're going to press your elbows into the ground, and you're going to lead with your chest. Walk yourself up, leading with the chest, leading with the chest, leading with the chest, until you come all the way up to your upright position. And then we're going to switch the crossing of our legs. So once more, extend, extend, bend the legs in so that you have that second crossing. You may need to adjust your blankets a little bit if they kind of moved around while you were doing the first side. So make a few adjustments there. And then once more, as I recline, I observe that my legs are in the correct position. The top of my buttocks moves towards my heels. And then first bringing myself down to my elbows, top of the buttocks towards the heels, inner thighs to the floor, and then coming into that fully reclined position. And then again, just adjusting this blanket that's supporting my head so that it's in the right place and giving me what I need here to maintain that extension in my spine. Move the top of the buttocks down, inner thighs towards the floor, staying on the outer edge of your feet here, that pinky toe side of your foot still cutting into the floor, toes and knees pointing straight forward. Outer shoulder blades in, soften and observe your breath. And then to come out of this position, just like we did on the first side, turn the palms of your hands, gripping the side of your mat if you'd like. Press the elbows, lift and lead with the chest to come up, sitting up nice and tall. Okay. All right, the next pose that we're gonna do is Supta Konasana. So you can keep your blankets here if you'd like. I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna scoot a little bit more towards this side of my mat because I'm gonna extend my arms overhead for this pose. I'll show you. That's an option for you if you wanna change what's going on with your arms in some of these supine postures. So I'm gonna keep my support here that I'm using, and then I'm gonna again sit at the bottom of my mat here, and I'm gonna sit in Baddha Konasana. So feet together, knees apart. I'll turn so you can see that. Okay, so I'm sitting in Baddha Konasana like this, right in front of my mat. So I'll start sitting in Baddha Konasana, sitting up nice and tall, holding onto my ankles or my shins to find that lift and length through my spine. Once more, seeing that the blankets are right here at the top of the buttocks, ready to support me as I recline. And then first finding the alignment in the seated position. And then I'm going to go ahead and start to recline here. Another option too for Baddha Konasana, if you did have bricks, I have my bricks right here, so that's super convenient. Because obviously there's some space here between my legs and the floor. And I don't want to just like force my knees to the floor because I have to keep this depth of the inner thighs, the top of the buttocks down. So it's not really about just getting the knees to the floor, it's about having the right alignment and creating that mobility. So I could give myself some support here with the bricks. Another thing that's nice here with Baddha Konasana, if you have an extra blanket, or if you have two extra blankets, right, I could use a blanket here. But if you only have, if you're like me and you've got, I've got one extra blanket, not two, I could open my blanket long ways, and I can twist this up a little bit, and then I can put it over my feet and have it under my thighs. And I think I like that. So I'm gonna do this, but again, either, you can use no props, you can use bricks, you can use two blankets on either side, or towels rolled up. you know, if you need some extra support for your legs here. So you just want to see too, if you have any of these props, especially this blanket, I've got this extra end of the blanket. I want to make sure it's supporting my thigh, but it's not coming up and creating an obstacle in my low back or buttocks area. So I want to make sure that those tails are kind of out to the sides a little bit, okay? So once more as I recline, I'm going to use my hands. I'm going to move the top of my buttocks towards my heels, so keeping the depth of the inner groin thighs. Lower myself down slowly to my elbows. Once more, making those adjustments. And then lowering all the way back down. Finding the right spot for this blanket that goes behind my head and supports the top of my shoulders. And so, I mentioned you have different options for your arms here. So you can keep the hands out to the sides here and allow the chest to be open, drawing the outer shoulder blades in, broadening the collarbones here. Or you can rest your hands on your abdomen, like we've mentioned in a few other poses, if that gives you a great degree of comfort. Or if you want to cross your arms and take them overhead. Okay? And then you can just have your arms overhead, clasping hold the elbows. And sometimes what's nice about this position of the arms is it gives you a little extra extension through your torso. So I'm going to keep my arms up, and then I'm going to check in. Top of the buttocks towards my heels, inner thighs towards the floor. In Baddha Konasana, you can press the feet together, gently pressing the soles of the feet together. Will give you some of that awareness through the outer hips to help you keep the outer hips in, the top of the buttocks down, the tailbone in. The abdomen can soften, so there's an extension through the spine here. There's extension through both the front and the back of the torso in these supine positions. So you want to maintain that extension, find that extension through the spine, but also observe that you're allowing a softness to come to your abdomen here, allowing the abdomen to begin to relax here. As we we're going to move our way into Savasana here very soon. So beginning to find that relaxation through your abdomen, through the pelvis and those visceral organs that exist all through that area of the body. Switch the crossing of your arms, whichever arm was in first. So you want to extend your arms, switch the arm that comes in first with this crossing of the arms and holding the elbows if that's the position you've chosen for your arms for this pose. Again, extending through the back of the neck, shoulders down away from the ears. This pose is especially great for if you're having digestive issues. It can help relax the digestive organs to make that a little easier for you. It's also great for women who are dealing with any types of feminine issues, whether there are actual issues there, or even just if that certain time of the month where women can get a little more uncomfortable. This position is great to help all of those organs to function as best they're able. And then with an inhale, bring your hands back down to the sides of your mat. And then since I'm using this blanket, I can go ahead and hold on to this blanket. Another option, again, would be to hold on and grip the sides of your mat. Or you can just press your hands down, press your elbows down, lift and lead with the chest to come all the way up, sitting up nice and tall. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove this blanket, extend my legs back out, and then we're going to go ahead and come into Shavasana. And so since we're doing more restorative poses today, I'm going to give you the option for your Shavasana if you want to put your legs either up on your blankets or up on your chair. I'll show you those things, or you could just do your regular Shavasana laying flat on your back, and that's of course always going to be fine also. So your options for Shavasana, if you are going to use the props, I'll show the chair first. And using these supports for the legs in Shavasana that I'm going to show you right now, if you do have back pain, tightness in your back, these are, or back injury, these are always going to be options for you for Shavasana. You may choose to take your Shavasana like this all the time. So I think this chair will be okay. If the chair is too high, sometimes that can be a problem, but I think we're going to be okay here. So what I'm going to do here, again, to protect my low back as I'm coming into this pose, I'm going to lay down onto my side, roll onto my back first, and then I'm going to bring my legs up to the chair. Perfect. So What I want to see to here is that the back of my shins are on the chair, that I get the edge of the chair almost right up into the knee crease there, and then I'm actually going to scoot my buttocks a little bit away so that I can get the top of the buttocks going towards my heels and get this relaxation through here. If you bring your pelvis too close to the chair, it might create some tightness through here. It might create tightness in this area. So seeing to it that you can allow the shin bones to relax to the chair, the inner thighs can soften towards the feet, top of the buttocks towards the heels, and then again, your arms in Shavasana, you've got choices. They can be palms up, they can be here on your abdomen. Okay, so that would be, if you're using the chair for Shavasana, you can rest like that. If you're going to use your blankets for Shavasana today, again, they're going to support your legs right behind the thighs and the knees. So I've folded them up in this long ways manner, and I'm going to put them pretty much right where that chair was. And then again, I'm going to lay onto the floor, roll to my back, and then those aren't quite in the right place. Might be easier to meet. So I'm going to scoot a little bit this way. There we go. And then I can go ahead and extend my legs. Now, if you're using blankets, you want to make sure that your heels are on the floor. If you have too many blankets stacked up, or if you have shorter legs maybe, or if you are not situated the right distance from your blankets, you might find that the heels, they're like up off of the ground like this. So you want to make sure that that's not happening, that you are in a position where the heels can still relax to the floor. So this is how I'm going to take my Shavasana today. You'll want to turn the palms of the hands to face up out by the sides, or rest them on the abdomen. But regardless, you want to draw the outer shoulder blades in, keep the top of the shoulders down away from your ears. And then with the legs on your support, either the chair or your blankets, allow the legs to relax. Allow the thighs to be heavy. Allow the thigh bones to relax and soften towards the floor. Allow your pelvis to relax. The abdomen softens. Observe the back side of your body on the floor. Observe a softening through the back of your buttocks, through the low part of your back. Allowing your body to melt into the floor. Allowing your body to widen into the floor. Releasing any tension that you hold in your body. And observe your breath. Keeping the eyes closed. Softening the skin of your face. Slow, steady inhalations, exhalations through your nose. Observe your breath. That's the first stage of pranayama, the breathing practice that comes with a deepening in your yoga practice. Once you've begun to have a steady asana practice, practicing the poses, finding that alignment in your body. Once you've begun that asana practice and you are becoming familiar with your poses, becoming more familiar with your breath, you can start to explore some of the pranayama breathing. And the first stage, Ujjayi I, is just the observation of breath. So that's all we're doing here today, Ujjayi I of our pranayama breathing practice, observation of the breath. Not doing anything to manipulate or change the way that you're breathing, but just by finding that awareness, finding that focus on the breath, it does begin to naturally change. It begins to soften. It helps us to restore allows us to find these deeper stages of relaxation. Also allowing the mind to soften as you observe the breath. Breathing through the nose. Inhalations and exhalations through the nose. Softening the skin of the body. And then slowly bend your knees in towards your chest. And then be mindful that you might have props or items around you. But carefully roll to your right side. And then again, using your arms, your hands to push you up to a seated position. Coming to a seat with your eyes closed. Sitting tall. Lifting the chest. Bring the hands together at the center of your chest. And bow your head to your hands. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. As always, if you have any questions, you can direct them to the YouTube channel and I'll do my best to get back to you. And thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.